Welcome along. We're going to dive deep today into some really fascinating source material.
Yeah, the focus is finding happiness, finding purpose, the Japanese way, all centered around this idea of ikigai.
Right. And we're drawing from a new book, which is interesting because it came about after readers of an earlier one.
The one inspired by Okinawa, the village of centenarians.
Exactly. Those readers were asking, okay, great concept, but how do I actually find my ikigai?
And maybe even more crucially, how do I live my dream when, life is just so busy, so demanding? So the authors went on this whole new journey across Japan looking for practical answers.
And that's really our mission here in this deep dive,
Right.
to pull out the practical, actionable stuff from that journey.
We'll be looking at some pretty cool ideas, things like Shinkansen thinking.
Yeah, that one's great. And perseverance, changing habits, finding guidance, all that stuff.
It's all geared towards helping you, the listener, really understand and, well, empower your own ikigai.
Okay, so let's kick off with what actually holds people back. What are the challenges the source material digs into?
Well, it starts with something I think many of us feel, just being stuck, busy all the time with responsibilities.
Right, just drowning in the day-to-day.
Yeah, and there's like no time, no energy left for the things that actually excite you, your passions, your dreams, your ikigai, basically.
And often tied into that is this feeling that certain goals, certain dreams are just impossible, like completely out of reach.
It's not just being busy. It's like these mental walls go up. Fear, maybe paralysis.
Yeah, thinking, I just can't do that. Like looking up at a huge mountain and feeling totally unprepared.
That sense of impossibility is a massive barrier. And even if you can picture it, sometimes there's just, well, a lack of discipline.
The perseverance needed to actually see things through. Starting is easy, right? Finishing, not so much.
Exactly. And then there are the habits, the bad ones, things we do automatically that just drain us or pull us away from what we really want.
You might not even notice you're doing them, just running on autopilot.
Totally. And they undermine everything else. Then there's the challenge of just knowing which way to go.
Like too many options. Or maybe no clear path.
Yeah, a sea of possibilities. And it's hard to know where to invest your time or energy. Plus, how do you improve if you don't get, like, an outside view?
Which often leads to just staying put, doesn't it? In the comfort zone.
Right. Fearing the unknown, maybe missing out on discoveries that could actually be really important for your ikigai.
And the modern world adds another layer, the whole digital overload thing.
Oh, definitely. The source talks a lot about that. Information overload, constant distractions, this sense of urgency all the time.
Makes it incredibly hard to focus on what actually matters.
And that digital tether means we're often not really present, always connected, always on. It's hard to just slow down.
Just be in the moment.
Yeah. And that feeds into multitasking, which often feels productive, but
just leaves you feeling scattered and exhausted, not accomplished.
exactly. Then there are the internal blocks, like unclear thoughts, messy emotions holding you back.
Or maybe knowing you need to make a big change, a crucial decision.
But it feels so huge, maybe terrifying, that you just hesitate, put it off.
So all these things, external pressures, internal confusion, they kind of block us from accessing deeper stuff, right?
Yeah, the source mentions missing out on subconscious insights, creativity, even wisdom from dreams because we're stuck in logical surface thinking.
Locked in. And that rigidity can mean we resist chance, unexpected opportunities, serendipity, they call it.
Exactly. Sticking too rigidly to the plan, you miss the happy accidents, the valuable detours.
And we can't ignore negativity, getting sucked into complaining, gossip, focusing on the bad.
It just drains so much energy. Energy that could be going towards your ikigai.
And finally, a big one, focusing too much on just one part of life, like maybe just making money.
Right. The source warns that if you neglect the other components of ikigai, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, you can end up feeling empty, even if you're successful financially.
And maybe the biggest underlying challenge is finding your purpose is like winning the lottery. A sudden revelation.
Instead of something you build, something you work towards through action and persistence, that belief itself stops people starting.
Okay, so that paints a picture of the challenges. But the really exciting part is the solutions, the framework the source offers.
Yeah, this is where it gets good. The core idea is finding and really empowering your ikigai, your reason for being, making it the engine for change.
So Ikigai isn't some fixed point you arrive at.
No, it's dynamic, something you actively nurture. And one of the most powerful concepts they introduce is this Shinkansen effect.
The bullet train idea, right?
Exactly. It's not about small incremental tweaks. It's about radical thinking to achieve goals that seem totally impossible at first.
Like that story of the engineers back in the 50s, tasked with doubling train speeds.
Yeah, from 100 kilometers to 200. They couldn't just make the engine a bit stronger. They had to rethink everything: tracks, suspension, aerodynamics, signals, complete redesign.
So applying that personally isn't just trying, say, 10% harder at something.
No, it's more like deciding on something huge, maybe running a marathon if you've never run, or changing careers completely and realizing it needs a fundamental shift in how you approach your time, learning, habits, your whole mindset.
A radical shift.
Mm.
And that kind of ambition needs serious effort, I imagine.
Absolutely. The source links us directly to Ganbarimasu, that Japanese concept of patience, perseverance, never giving up.
You need that dedication for those big Shinkansen-level goals.
It's the fuel. And this mindset shift helps you relabel impossible as mission possible.
Like those stories they share climbing Mount Fuji when it was considered impossible, or the author's own struggles with learning to swim or finishing degrees.
Right. It's about challenging that mental block of, I can't, and just taking action.
And taking action often means changing our daily routines, our habits.
Huge part of it. The source says up to 40% of what we do daily is habit. So if you consciously identify the bad habits, figure out the reward they give you.
Like why you really do them.
Exactly, and then build a new routine that gives a similar reward and stick with it for, say, 21 days. You can make massive leaps based on work like Charles Duhigg's.
So powerful to realize you can reprogram that autopilot. What about external help? Feedback, mentors, the senpai idea.
They're important. You just progress faster with outside perspective. Even geniuses like Mozart and Einstein had mentors.
Still your blind spots, right?
Yeah, challenge your assumptions, show you paths you hadn't considered, helps you step outside the comfort zone without getting totally lost.
And stepping outside that zone, the source says even small daily adventures help.
Totally. Doesn't have to be massive. Change your commute, wander a new neighborhood, grab a random book, just little things to bring in fresh air, new stimuli.
So exploring, but also focusing. The Pareto rule comes in here, the 80-20 thing.
Yeah, it's about efficiency.
Yeah.
Roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, and 80% of problems from 20% of causes.
To apply that to clients, possessions, friends.
Anywhere you invest time or energy. Identify the vital 20% that gives you the most value or happiness and focus more energy there. Cut back on the less impactful 80%, like Tim Ferriss did.
Okay. And tackling the digital drain, what's the approach?
A digital diet and consciously embracing analog life. Disconnecting sometimes helps regain focus.
Like reading a real book, using a notepad.
Exactly. Slows you down, forces more intentionality. Like analog photography needing selectivity, like writing a haiku. Daniel Seberg from Google is mentioned here.
And that intentionality leads to flow.
Absolutely. That state of total absorption in one task. The antidote to multitasking fatigue. Remember the Zen saying, whenever sitting, sit, full attention.
For clearing the mental clutter inside, writing is key.
Big time. Getting thoughts and feelings down on paper helps clarify things, organize burdens, move forward, kind of like self-therapy.
And finding clarity by looking backward, connecting the dots, Steve Jobs style.
Right. Reflecting on your past, the unexpected turns, helps you understand your current path, builds confidence for the future.
And that reflection helps identify the big decisions needed now.
Precisely. Understanding past choices highlights the crucial ones facing you today. Seeing the potential benefits can motivate you to take the leap.
Moving beyond logic. Lucid dreaming. The night shift. Sounds wild.
It is pretty fascinating. The idea is, by becoming aware you're dreaming, you can tap into your subconscious. Process fears, practice skills, find creative solutions. They mention Stephen LaBerge's research, examples like athletes practicing in dreams. Even Richard Feynman.
Wow. And for breaking logical blocks when awake, there are koans, lateral thinking.
Yeah, a koan is like a paradoxical riddle. Sound of one hand clapping. Can't solve it logically. It's meant to bypass your usual thinking pattern.
To trigger an intuitive insight. Satori.
Exactly. It encourages lateral thinking, making sideways connections, not just step-by-step logic, like Edward de Bono talked about.
So opening up the mind, allowing the unexpected, which links to inviting serendipity. How do you invite chance?
By putting yourself in situations where it's more likely to happen, saying yes more often, sharing your work online. Apparently, less than 1% of users create content, so doing it puts you out there.
Reaching out to people, mixing social circles.
Yeah, connecting people, exploring new interests, like Steve Jobs visiting Xerox PRC. That openness led to huge innovation.
And managing our interstate random acts of kindness, RAK.
Simple, but powerful. Being kind to others boosts your own satisfaction. The story of Kyoto helping earthquake victims just by making coffee shows how small acts matter for everyone involved.
And filtering negativity, the 3 wise monkeys.
Basically, yeah. Be mindful of what you see, hear, and say. Filter out negativity from media, conversations, protect your mental energy. It connects to Socrates' filters: truthful, kind, necessary.
Actively look for the good, too.
Right, and help others develop their best qualities that reflects back positively on you.
So all these tools help us find and live our Ikigai. And the key is balancing those 4 components.
Yes, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Focusing too much on just one, especially just money, leads to emptiness.
So it's not just finding the intersection, it's actively doing it. The message is, start doing.
Absolutely. Perseverance, tenacity, don't wait for a lightning bolt.
And embracing uncertainty along the way, not over-planning.
Right. Allow for spontaneity. Focus on the who, the connection, maybe more than the detailed where or what. Lao Tse is referenced on this.
The power of naming is another tool.
Yeah, giving projects or goals a name makes them more real, like Vitruvian Man Project for health. Writing down commitments like a personal contract adds power too.
And looking back to childhood dreams for clues, returning to origin.
Definitely. What excited you as a kid can reveal your true self, like in the movie Ikiru or Randy Pausch's last lecture. Remember simple rules like share everything, pay attention to wonderful stuff.
The source also talks about learning through repetition and adaptation, the Japanese way.
Yeah, the idea that copying, if you adapt and improve it, has value, like Hokusai's Prince or Japanese whiskey evolving from Western models. Steal like an artist, use admired work as a starting point to build your own thing.
And mastery comes through practice, katas,
Repetition of fundamental forms, essential in many disciplines.
which connects to Kaizen's small, continuous improvements.
Exactly. Little steps every day add up, like Zen lessons from archery. Patience, perseverance, humility, flexibility. Don't force it.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of powerful ideas. So let's make it super practical for the listener. How do you actually do this stuff?
Right, the source gives concrete steps for Shinkansen thinking.
Mhm.
First, just identify that seemingly impossible dream. Write it down. Visualize it. Don't worry how yet. Just define the audacious goal.
And to feel mission possible.
List 3 to 5 things you once thought were impossible for you, but you actually did. Seeing your own track record helps break down mental barriers now.
Okay, changing a habit. The 21-day method. Step 1.
Identify the bad habit. Get specific. When do you do it? Where? With whom? What emotions trigger it?
Step 2.
Experiment with rewards. What does the habit really give you? A break, comfort, distraction. Try different healthier activities that provide that same underlying reward.
And step 3.
Establish the new routine. Make it explicit. When I feel X, trigger, I will do Y, new routine, because it gives me Z reward. Use reminders, alarms to help embed it.
Getting useful feedback, it's about asking better questions, right?
Definitely. Not just, do you like it? Ask, why do you think X works? Or, what did you like least, most, and why? The SKS approach is great. Start doing what?
Okay, and if you don't have a mentor yet, self-coaching tips.
Track progress with tech for physical skills. Watch experts online, read biographies, interviews. Use online forums for specific questions. Compare your work to experts, like translating something and comparing it. And self-reflect after practice. How did it go? Difficulty, errors, doubts. If it's too easy, ramp it up.
Daily steps outside the comfort zone. Small things.
Yeah, change your commute. Grab an unfamiliar book. Wander a new neighborhood. Try one session of something new, Tai Chi, cooking class. Talk to a colleague you don't know. Just one small thing.
Applying Pareto, the 80-20 rule.
Look at your clients, possessions, social life, hobbies. Find the 20% giving 80% of the value happiness. Focus more there. Consciously reduce energy on the rest. Try emptying a drawer, only putting back the 20% you actually use.
Starting a digital diet and adding analog habits. How to begin.
Maybe try a full day unplugged. Track your usage honestly for a bit. Schedule screen-free times, daily, maybe mornings, evenings. Pick up analog things, physical books, notepads, film camera maybe. Prioritize real-life connection.
Cultivating presence and flow.
Choose tasks for 100% focus. No multitasking then. Schedule single flow blocks. Practice simple mindfulness, just sitting, just walking. Phone away during meals, especially with others.
Using writing for clarity.
Simple daily practice, like the 5-minute journal. Morning 3 gratefuls, 3 things for a great day. Night 3 great things happened, how today could be better. Or try writing a haiku daily, 5 syllables. Observe a moment, forces conciseness.
Connecting your dots, hindsight.
Reflect on major events decisions of the last 5 years. What happened? What were the effects? Look for the threads connecting past to present.
And identifying crucial decisions needed now.
Based on that reflection, list the big choices facing you. Write down the potential benefits and consequences for each. Helps clarify and motivate action.
Fostering lucid dreams. The night shift.
Focus on a topic problem before sleep. Maybe a short meditation. Keep a dream journal by the bed. Write down anything on waking. Reading the journal before sleep can help too.
Practicing lateral thinking with koans.
Pick a koan. Don't try to solve it logically. Just let it sit in your subconscious. The insight might pop up later unexpectedly.
Inviting serendipity. Intentional openness.
Say yes more often. Share your work online. Reach out to people you admire. Hand out business cards. Offer or ask for help unexpectedly. Mix social groups. Explore outside your usual interests.
Random acts of kindness.
Set a small goal, one kind act, daily or weekly. Compliment, smile, volunteer. Simple intention matters.
Applying the 3 wise monkeys filter.
Be mindful of media intake. Seek positive stuff if needed. Steer conversations away from negativity. Focus your attention on the good around you. Help others develop their best qualities.
Working on Ikigai balance.
Draw the 4 circles. Love, good at, world needs, paid for. Brainstorm what fits in each for you. See where the gaps are.
And taking action on Ikigai.
Look at the gaps. List 3 specific, concrete actions for each neglected area. Set a start date. Move from knowing to doing.
And knowing when to change direction if things aren't working.
Look at the diagram again if you feel stuck or dissatisfied. Are you neglecting areas? Too focused on one, don't be afraid to shift focus or drop things. Your Ikigai isn't fixed. You can adjust course. Life's too short to be stuck. So yeah, we've really covered a lot there. It's about seeing Ikigai not as some magic endpoint, but something you actively build day by day using these kinds of tools.
Right. It's about understanding that huge dreams can be tackled with that Shinkansen thinking, that radical approach, combined with steady perseverance, that Ganbarimasu.
And it's also about the power of small things, changing habits bit by bit, daily steps outside the comfort zone, applying 80-20 to focus your energy effectively.
Connection seems vital too. Feedback, mentors, positive influences, even just simple human connection.
Absolutely. And looking back to understand your path, being present now through flow and maybe less digital noise, and staying open to the unexpected serendipity, insights from dreams, those lateral leaps.
It all comes together in balancing those 4 key components: love, skill, need, payment, and crucially, taking consistent action. That reminder that feeling dissatisfied might just be a signal your Ikigai's out of whack is pretty powerful. It gives you permission to change.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought to leave people with, something from the source. Pursuing your passion, sharing it, that's presented as a huge human goal. But maybe the real key is not to take it all too seriously.
Chase it with a smile. Allow for mistakes.
Exactly. Learn as you go.
So the question for you, the listener, is, what simple, maybe even joyful, imperfect step can you take today towards your Ikigai?
A great question to end on. That's it for this deep dive. We really hope these ideas and practical steps give you some valuable things to think about and maybe try out on your own journey.